Welcome home. We provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Laarni Moby here with me today. How you doing, Laarni?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing absolutely great as well, and I'm just real happy to have you here today. You do something that's just extremely cool. You're a power lifter, among other things, and I'm excited to explore your journey today. I want to say hello to everybody who might be tuning in, whether you be on Roku TV, right here on Facebook, Apple TV, Android TV, YouTube, or anywhere else. However, you might be watching our broadcast today. I want to say thank you and welcome. Laarni, let's get right into it. Talk to us a little bit about where you're from.
So I am here in the Chicagoland area. Originally, I was born in the Philippines, moved to the States when I was 5 years old. And so I've been living in the Chicagoland area most of my life. So.
Okay. And do you remember any of your life when you were living in the Philippines?
So when I moved here when I was 5 years old, it was a very quick turnaround. When I lived in the Philippines, it's a tropical climate. I never wore shoes. I rarely threw on really heavy clothes because it's a tropical climate country. And when I moved here to the States, the first thing that my grandparents came to pick us up, my family up, the first thing that she handed me were shoes. And
okay.
I was like, what are these? And you know how when you put those little footies on a dog and they walk kind of funky?
Right, yeah.
That's how I felt. I remember putting them on and just like, what are these? So
really,
the first taste of American culture was gym shoes.
Mm-hmm. Wow, who knew that shoes are it's not something that everybody does in every culture.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that, though. Talk to me a little bit about that. How are people getting along in the Philippines with no shoes? How does that work?
We just did it. I honestly, till this day, I struggle putting on socks and shoes because I hate it so much. But it's really we're a free spirit people. So we are comfortable, and comfort comes in flip-flops and shorts and tank tops and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting, the culture differences when I moved to the States. So shoes and having to wear a jacket, because I think it was October when he came, having to throw on a jacket. It's probably 70 degrees in the Chicagoland area at that time, and I was like, it's cold.
Right. Another thing that I find real interesting about not wearing shoes, or even socks for that matter, is that there are really big health benefits that go along with that, and it's called grounding. And being grounded with the earth, there's nothing separating you from the earth. And so it raises the frequency of your body. It raises your consciousness. It makes you one with nature. And it just makes a little bit more love in the environment. And so, that's a huge piece of culture that I just want to draw out. So you guys were doing grounding, and we're not doing that here in America. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's something, grounding and rooting, that's really taken me through my life in general, but in powerlifting as well. Rooting and grounding yourself to the ground, where you kind of screw in your feet to have that, to stand in stability, to stand in as the strongest position in your foot. That's part of powerlifting.
That's right. That's the core of strength, is your center of gravity, which is based on the way that you're standing, how you're standing. Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah. So it's it's taken me throughout my life. That's always been been part of nature. You connect yourself to the ground. And now as my sport, I connect to the ground as much as I can.
What did elementary school look like for you?
Ooh, that's a tough one, because so when we moved here to the States, we actually moved to the south side of Chicago, and it's that memory that I have was being transported to a magnet school. And a magnet school is like, you know, everybody can come. There's like really not many boundaries, so everyone can come. But my name, Laarni, was very different. And I got bullied for my name. I got bullied for being small. I mean, I'm only like 5'1". Like, I look really tall on camera, I know. But in person, I'm a very small person. And when I moved to the States and went to an American school, almost like the first experience was getting bullied for my name because it was different.
Okay.
And
wow.
yeah, and technically, so I introduced myself as Laarni, but really in between those two A's is a pause. So it's Laarni.
Okay.
And to say that to kids, it's like all they heard was like the last part. And so of course, like Sesame Street was big at that time. So they would call me like Bert and Ernie. So they would like bully me for my name. And eventually, you know, it became more Americanized. And so like there's that identity factor that I started losing as I got a little bit older, because it was I was making it easier for other people to say my name. And so I haven't associated the Laarni in so long that I've just become Laarni.
Is Laarni and Laarni two different identities?
Ooh, yes. You know what? I'm going to say yes. So the one with the pause, that was the struggling young child. That was the child that was really looking for someone visually to be a mentor, you know, like someone I could look up to, or I was looking for someone to emulate, because we didn't we watch TV in the Philippines, but very rare because we're always outside. And coming to the States and then all of a sudden watching TV, I was like, why don't I have like blonde hair? Why don't I have a family that's, you know, cheesing all the time and getting along all the time, you know? And my family wasn't like that. You know, it was hard to find myself back then, because as you're a young kid, you're absorbing everything and trying to see where you stand in life. And then all of a sudden it like clicks and you're like, that's not what I have. And then I know in high school, I got into that depression and anger and that suicidal tendencies, that angst in high school, because I didn't have an identity. And at that time, it was still two A's.
Go
ahead.
Oh, at that time, all the way through high school, it was still two A's.
It was still the Laarni.
Okay. Yep. Because what I was going to ask you was, for pretty much the next, after you got here, you were 5 years old. So for the next at least 10 years, you had the anxiety of feeling like the new person from a potentially different culture, with a name and an identity that's hard for other people to, or seemingly hard for other people to understand. So you dealt with that anxiety for over 10 years.
Yes. And let me double that with the cultural standard of don't ruffle any feathers. Don't say too much to like show, you know, to draw attention to yourself. It was that like, hey, let's continue to push you down a little bit, because to me, I'm a free spirit. I have a loud voice. I have a loud laugh. But to grow up in that manner, it's like, okay, let's keep Laarni in the corner, and you know, have her be quiet. Oh yeah.
Did you have moments where you were starting to understand the social structure here in America, and you were able to separate someone being mean from this just being the structure of the way that things are done here in America? Did you have that at any point in that 10 years?
I'll tell you the truth. I conformed to everything. I didn't know the difference. I thought it was just part of American life. You know, you just go with the flow and figure things out as you go along. But there wasn't an individual feeling that I had. I felt, you know, going with the crowd all the time. I felt as much as I wanted to break free, it was like I was going with the crowd all the time.
You felt like you were in a pipeline.
Yo, yes. Oh yeah, that conveyor belt of life. If I hadn't stopped it, probably in my early 20s, maybe like late 20s, I think I wouldn't be here today.
This is a major mirror for me as someone who only grew up here in America. That we look like we are on a conveyor belt. We look like we are following one another, and we look like we are fitting nice and neatly into a container called American culture, where we're told what to say, we're told how to see things, we're told how to dress, we're told how our name should sound.
Yep.
And we're over here doing that, and then you come from another country and you see right away, oh, they're not naturally free spirits.
Yes. Yeah, it was a very eye-opening childhood for me, maybe because I wasn't allowed a lot of freedom like other kids were doing. Like I wasn't allowed to play sports. And it's funny because I'm like health, fitness, sports. I love it now. But growing up, I wasn't allowed. And I wasn't allowed to express myself artistically. I wasn't really allowed to do much. And that's just a cultural thing. In our culture, a lot of the females, we don't really get to do a lot of like outside things. The boys were able to do whatever, but like the girls really weren't allowed to. And it was like something that was deep inside me that I brought from the Philippines, that free spirit of myself. I brought that to the States and I wanted to continue that here, but I couldn't. It was the hardest time of my life because I couldn't just go outside and run around. I couldn't go outside and play with whatever. It was very different here in America. And that part of me was very stifled and very suppressed for a long time.
Was there fear on the part of your family about just going outside and being free? Was anyone afraid for you, or was everyone afraid of going out there and kind of like being vulnerable to American society?
I think that was a part of it. We never really talked about it, especially like with us. Like we live with my grandparents, and so we weren't like we were brought here pretty much like our grandparents brought us here. And it was probably like a protective thing, which I'm so grateful for, because I think I would have probably ran in front of a car and would have been like, okay, whatever. But like I think that that standard of like being protective over your children is an innate, you know, trait that parents have, grandparents have, but it is that I like when we're told to kind of like stay quiet and not ruffle any feathers. It was almost like that was the fear that maybe I was going to ruffle some feathers.
Right. Now we're in an era where we have to stay in the house a lot. Our children in particular, they have to stay in the house a lot. They can't just be free. They just can't run outside as if nothing is out there. And so it seems like we're ironically in an era right now where our children have to do something similar to what you had to do, which was spend a little bit more time in the house, you know, be more contained, you know, and deal with all those emotions. So I want to learn from you. How did you deal with, you know, having to kind of be in the house more and deal with anxiety of being in the house more? How'd you deal with it?
So back in the day when I wasn't really allowed, I was a pretty big rebel in my family. Okay. I got in trouble a lot. If you asked my sister, she'd be like, yes, she got in trouble. Yes, she snuck out a lot. Yes, she tried to do a lot of things to get around my parents. But really the protectiveness and, you know, to keep me in the house, it drove me a little bit mentally crazy, because I wasn't like that. It was already inside me to be outside, to just be active all the time. So my parents, they introduced me to athletics, probably in maybe like my seventh or eighth grade. So like 11, 12, 13, that kind of time. And they introduced me to tennis. And I enjoyed it because it let me feel something athletic. I was able to play outside with my sister, but I wasn't able to join an organized sport in high school.
Why
And
not?
that's just, again, like the protective parent that my dad was. I actually tried out. I snuck around his back and I tried out for the dance team, and he came and plucked me out of that tryout and took me home.
Did you ever have friends along the way? Let's say K through 12. Did you have many friends?
I had friends during that time, but it wasn't anything long lasting.
So what was your relationship? What was your relationship like with your sibling then? Y'all must have been extremely close.
We did the usual sibling rivalry back in the day, where my sister and I are very different. We are very different. Like she's like I like to get down and get dirty outside, and she's kind of like not like that. But she would play with me and let me like we'll play catch outside and stuff. But we had our sibling rivalries back in the day. But really, like, yeah, my sister and I are really close. We were close then. We are close now. I mean, we're so close that we only live like 8 minutes away from each other. So yeah, really close.
All right. So now there's two sides to every coin.
Yep.
Enough of the social stuff. Life is at hand. We have the objective of being successful individually and as a family. Can you talk about, your parents' perspective in terms of, what y'all were trying to achieve as a family? What was the goal?
So let me clarify like how my family was. So my family, there's a long line of people in the medical field. And I'm going to throw out the stereotype about Filipinos, but we're supposed to be nurses. Like, the females are supposed to be nurses. And I did not want to do that. I didn't want to be a nurse. I didn't want to be a doctor. I wanted to play sports. I wanted to be in some kind of athletic realm. So I compromised with my family, and I tried their suggestions of what they think I should do. I tried it, and I didn't move along with it. I didn't like it. So once I started like dabbling and researching on things that I could do with sports, but along with like a medical field to appease my family, I became an athletic trainer. So my degree is in athletic training. I have my master's in sports medicine. So I was able to do that medical part of my family, but also give myself a little bit of joy with working with athletes. So that was, but till the day my dad died, he had no idea what I did for a living. We'd watch like football, or something, and somebody would get injured, and he'd go, "Which one are you? Or which one are you on there?" And I was like, "Okay, this is." So he still didn't understand what I did, but at least I was doing medicine and athletics at the same time.
I do find it interesting that you decided to compromise, have a middle ground with your parents. You didn't just say, I'm just going to go off and do something totally different. But you said, let me stand up for myself, incorporate my desires as well as yours. And so there is respect in that. And I think it's really cool. What I want to talk about is your idea on academics and your family's ideas on academics. And I just want to kind of get that glimpse into your mentality. What are your thoughts on academics?
For me, academics was very important to my family. It's very, very, very important. We were supposed to get the straight A's. We were supposed to be on National Honor Society every report card period. And to me, like, academics is very important. It lays the groundwork for things you could stack up on. So the things that you learn in high school, yes, it's like a groundwork, but when it comes to building yourself along with academics, that's when like your outside influences and your experiences build that part of academics. So like for me, academics in school was boring. Like I really was like, okay, it was, for me, it was easy. Academics was easy. And I really should have applied myself a little bit more in high school, but I didn't because I wanted to play sports. My mind was elsewhere and I wanted to be creative. But I'm grateful for having an education and having that academic part and that mentality. It really just laid the groundwork for who I am now. And continue like the learning, like all the lessons, it helped continue the learning that I have today.
So, what were your thoughts about your own future as you graduated from high school? What were you thinking that you were going to go out into the world and do?
Honestly, I had no idea. When I graduated high school, I was like that typical kind of like high schooler. I had no idea what I was going to do. And really, like, a lot of the thought behind who I was going to be at that part of my life was really guided by my family. So like, why aren't you going to nursing school? Okay, like, you don't want to go to nursing school. Like, I don't want to do that. So why don't you go to junior college and do hospitality? So I have an associate's in hospitality management. Worked in the hotel industry, not for me. And then still it was like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But the main thing that was still in my heart was athletics. Like, I still wanted to be in some kind of fitness, in some kind of sports industry. And, athletic training was a great compromise, but I still like wanted more. So
where did it come from? Where did the athletic desire come from? Do you have athletes in your family? Are there other people?
no,
Nowhere in your family. No one's doing it.
no, the only athletic part in my life growing up was playing tennis with my mom for like 4 or 5 hours. And that was the only thing, because that was, I think that was maybe like the only thing that she wanted to do, but it was something that we could do together. And, but like my dad wasn't athletic. My sister doesn't like sports. It was like, I was really the only one that wanted to be an athlete. And when I look at myself in my early 20s, when I started to dabble into athletics because I was on my own, I was doing whatever I wanted, I was like, this is my element. This is what I'm made to be. Is I'm going to be if I wasn't an athlete back then, I'm gonna make myself an athlete now.
Right. All right. What was the first sport that you took up? What was the first athletic event that you got involved in?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'll say that my mother used to take me to the gym all the time, and when I was in my teenage years, so I love lifting weights. I've always loved lifting weights. Yeah, it was very interesting because as I was growing up, I compared myself to people on TV, and the visual was always like the tall, slender girls. And I tried to push myself to be a tall, slender girl, but that wasn't going to happen. And going to the gym, I would see these, like the teenage magazines with blonde, tall, slender girls. And when I lifted up a weight, I was like, I can't, it would bore, it wasn't challenging for me. And I think deep inside me, I wanted to challenge myself even more. And so I always would pick up the heavier weights. And in my 20s, I was dating this gentleman, and he introduced me to like a bodybuilding gym. And it was like, all these heavy weights. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I'm like so in my element. So I was training, and he would like jokingly, the guy I was dating would jokingly tell me like, hey, can you like stop lifting so heavy, because you're lifting more than me.
Right.
And I just
Right.
like, what? So like, again, that like mind like confusion of like, okay, well, if he doesn't like me like this, then I'm going to conform to what he likes. And that, again, that identity.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Okay.
identity problem.
Mhm.
Back up again.
Before we go into the break, I want to talk to young women out there who they want to get physical, just like you did. They want to get physical. They want to be athletes. They want to get out on the track, the field, and that is their element. But they might be discouraged because when they look out on society, you know, females are always somebody who's slim or someone who's definitely not lifting heavy or doing anything strenuous. Can you provide some encouragement to the young women out there today?
Oh, yes. Yes, I can. Because don't be afraid. And that's really one of the driving factors of who I am now, is uplifting these women to know that they have it within them. They have a power within them to choose their strength. It may not be something like powerlifting, but if you're going to choose to do some kind of activity, do it. Do it. The only way you're going to find out if you can do something is to try it. And it's going to be scary. When I'm hopping on that platform and all these people are watching me, I'm scared to death. But the only way to get through is to go over and do it.
That's right.
So it's fearful, yes, but you know what? Try it. It's the only way you're going to find out if you enjoy it and if it's for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Laarni Mulvey today. She is a powerful woman. She is a strong woman, and she's sharing her journey. Sit tight. We'll be right back with more after this brief message. America's Next Motivator. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. And we're back. How you feeling out there?
I'm good. How are you? I love the music. I was like just dancing along with it.
See, that's the part that people can't see during the break, and the guests is listening to the music and they're rocking out and stuff like that. But you're still a free spirit today.
Yes,
you never lost that aspect of yourself, and I think that that's powerful. Talk about what it took for you to keep a hold of that free spirit, even though you went to a totally different country, you had different experiences, there were challenges on all different sides, and you were able to keep your identity after all. Talk about that.
So when I lost myself, there's a few times that I did lose myself, but I fought my way back. And how I fought my way back was I did like an inner look at myself, and I made sure that the things that I wanted in my life were going to happen, or they were going to eventually, I was going to figure out a way to get it or get to it. And when you lose yourself so many times, it's almost like everything in your life becomes a lesson to say yes or no. So when you're in that turmoil of like, okay, of that lost feeling, which I've been through so many times in my life,
Mm-hmm.
I really had to do an inner inventory, like, what's holding me back? And sometimes I go back to that cultural fear, like that cultural standard, where I'm like, okay, am I living for myself? It's almost like you have to ask yourself these questions, like, am I living for me? Am I genuinely happy? And what is it that I want? I mean, I feel that's like a question I feel like everybody asks themselves eventually in their lives, like, what is it that I want? What is it that I want? And I started doing these lists a long time ago, and I kind of wish I had like the journals from back in the day still, but really it was like it stuck with me. It stuck with me till this day. Like, what do I want? Even though it's changed a little bit, things have been added, things have been deleted, but it's almost owning who you are to know your value and know where your direction is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a lot of deep thinking about the bad things. You know, you can't just hide the bad things. You really have to face
Sure.
the bad things sometimes and go,
Mhm.
okay, this is what I learned from that bad thing. I don't want to feel that way again. Let me just move forward, or let me learn from it so I know that if the same bad thing comes towards you, you kind of know how to dodge it or not
That's
let
right.
it take your space. So
That's
it
right.
took a lot of inner perspective and inner analysis to get past that.
Mhm. You know, I think this is the moment right here where you connect with so many thousands of people across the country and across the world. You know, a lot of people are going to have this moment in their life where their body wants to do one thing, but their spirit wants to do another thing.
Yeah.
And in that moment, let me tell you, it is, and this is what you should be thankful to the world for. It is extremely difficult to totally separate your body from your spirit. It's extremely difficult to totally separate your body from your mind. And as the two are being pulled apart because you're having a new experience, or you're wondering, what's on the other side of a particular field. I love the way Laarni pointed out that you get all these questions that you have to choose yes or no to, because your body is trying to figure out if it's going to win, and your soul is trying to figure out if it's going to win, and you are in the middle answering your own questions of where you're going to go. Be on the lookout for that, guys. If
Yes.
you're in a phase, if you're in a phase in your life where your body wants to do one thing, but your soul wants to do another thing, and you're in the middle answering the questions, just keep answering the questions. And in due time, your body and your soul will come back together as one, and you'll be better for it.
Yes.
You'll
Yes.
be better for it.
Totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, yeah. I love the way that you broke that down. And so everybody, be encouraged out there that when you separate and you come back together, that's just part of life. That's just you getting into the next chapter. That's just you growing. That's you saying, "Hey, let me expand a little bit. Let me see what's out there. I'm not going to lose myself. I'm not going to lose myself you
Yes.
know but be mindful that you got to take that risk. You got to jump. People say, your destiny is right in front of you. Now you got to reach out and grab it. Reach out and grab it. You're going to stretch. Speaking of stretching, when you started to get involved in these different athletic events, did you just have a natural talent, or did you have to start training? Did you have to start studying? How did you really get into that groove?
So it took me a really long time to get to powerlifting. Okay, so I'm gonna tell everybody my age. I'm very proud of my age. I'm 44 years old, and when
Wow.
I was when I was like 19 or 20, I already had the idea that I wanted to compete already in
Okay.
something, bodybuilding, anything, because I was exposed from the gentleman I was dating, like into this bodybuilding gym. And when he told me like not to lift heavier because I was lifting heavier than him, that really crushed my confidence a little bit. That really crushed my idea of being a competitive athlete because I've
Hold on.
always wanted to be an
Hold
athlete.
on. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta know, what were you lifting more than him?
Well, I was just doing this regular like leg press, and I had more plates on either side. And he was just, he didn't tell me outright, but it was like that run around, like, hey, can you do that? Are you sure you're okay to do that? I'm like, yeah. As I pump out 5 at like the same time.
Right.
So yeah, it was very interesting, but it was.
Hey, let me tell you guys, don't skip leg day, because when Laarni is next to you and she's pumping 500, she's putting in the work. Where are you? Where
Yes.
are you, Bucko? Where are you, Bucko? You got you got to dig deep. You got to dig deep, Bucko, and you got to catch up.
You got to catch up. It takes a long time to get your body this strong. So from like being 20 to being 40 in 2019, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to power lift. I'm going to reach back to my roots of lifting heavy and power lift. So what did I do? I found a coach, and she talked me into doing like a mock meet. And I was like, I don't know, and then all of a sudden I was trying to talk myself out of it. As much as that's the vision that I was seeing, my fear was talking me from it, was talking me away from it. Wow. So now I'm like, okay, all right. And she like talked me through it, and she helped me get my basics in. And I transitioned to another powerlifting coach, and he really gave me a lot more confidence in myself to be a powerlifter. And that's why, like, when I think about powerlifting and all the lessons that it has taught me since 2019, it's been amazing. But like, it was March 13, 2019 was the first time I touched a barbell. November 2019 was my first mock meet, and I was nervous. I almost didn't do it. And to have somebody support, to have like a teammates that are strong women as well around me to support me, it was the best experience in my life. And I'm so glad I did it. It only took like 2 years.
You said exactly. You said that you learned a lot of things from powerlifting and from getting into athletics. What are some of the things that you learned from becoming a stronger woman? What did you learn? Can you pass something along today?
Oh, sure. So I was talking about how I was always put in the corner. I was always pushed, told to be quiet. And I've always been a very boisterous woman. And when I started getting into strength sports, not only did the lessons of, hey, you have to focus, you have to train, you have to understand that, the bar is going to tell you the truth, that really transferred into the real life as well. And it really, strength sports for me helped build up a little bit of a leadership attitude that I've always had. But when you become more confident in yourself and seeing how capable you are, and then you have, you were talking about the mind soul connection. When your mind is capable and it connects to your body, so many good things can happen. And you just don't realize it. So that's why I think of the strong mind, able body. There has to be a connection from your mind to your body, and that's your heart. And once your heart connects and feels your true ability and your true self, so many good things happen. So many good things happen.
To me, you represent a slice of the population who believes in physical strength. and you furthermore you go out there and you act on it. You lift, you coach others, you accept coaching, and you live your life in a strong scenario. Um, can you talk to women out there, men too,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, who, for instance, Rose Hensley, she dropped a comment a few seconds ago. She said, "I can only lift 50 pounds, and that's a struggle." You know, for those women or men who want to get stronger, but they're not sure, you know, how to push themselves, or they're scared of the accountability of the bar. How can we begin strength training, and how can we grow strength?
So let's take the physical aspect out first. Let's push that off. Let's put that in the side burner.
Wow.
When
Okay.
you're learning your strength, let's get your mind right first. Let's get your mind right first. Let's not compare yourself to the other person, to the other person, to the other person. Because you have one body. You have one God-given body that you have. And it is your vessel. It is your temple. Like they say, your body is your temple. Your body, your temple. You have to want it. You have to want that strength inside you and not be afraid of judgment, of criticism, because there will be criticizers out there. There will be people saying, you know what, Laarni, you're 44 years old. Why are you doing this now? Oh, I'll see. I'll check out your knees in like 3 months and see how it works, how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing this since 2019, and I feel the strongest. I feel mentally strong. And now here comes the physical part. We tie in the physical part. My last competition, I deadlifted 402 pounds. And
Wow.
honestly, my coach would probably say, you had more in you.
Right.
And really it's that in the back of your mind that's talking to you, like, you know what, people are going to look at you. They're going to say things about you. They're going to judge you. And go do it. And when it comes together, when your physical and your mental come together, then go trust yourself. Trust that your body is capable to lift 50 pounds. Trust it. Your body was made to be strong. Your body is made to move. Let's get it moving. Let's get it strong. The stronger that you can stand in your strength, stand in your strength and be knowing of who you are. There's that fear of always touching the barbell, but it's always going to be a question anyway. So why don't you just try it? See what you can do.
You know,
Push yourself. Challenge yourself.
that's right. When people look for partners, and they look for people who can achieve, who can accomplish certain objectives, they look for people who are grounded. And if there is a connection between your workout regimen, your mental regimen, and the amount of groundedness that you feel, then I think we all should. I think we should all be working out a little bit. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, I totally agree. I totally
Mm-hmm.
agree. And, I think a lot of people start to compare themselves. Like I'm in my 40s and people compare I would never, ever compare myself to the 20 something that I was back in the day. Because
Right, right, right.
my body is different. And the one thing that I feel that everybody should do is accept your healthy self. And that means your
Mm-hmm.
mind and your body. Accept yourself. We are all beautiful human beings. We are all here to help and love each other and support each other. Why tear each other down? Don't tear,
That's right.
don't tear each other down. And there's a whole different perspective about what what men see what women can do, and that's like a whole different perspective as well. I mean, men should see that women are capable as well, and us for women, we should ask for help if we need to, and not be
That's
like,
right.
oh, maybe I shouldn't. You know, if we have to ask for help, ask for help. I mean, I have to ask for a spot sometimes in the gym.
That's right. That's right. But it looks like you are very confident in yourself. You know, the workouts don't just serve a physical purpose. When you feel that much more grounded because you're working out, your personal confidence, it can be through the roof. And your confidence being through the roof is what makes you such a reliable member of our community. So I think that that's great, and I want everybody to get that connection. It's not that you're working out just to be working out. You're working out so that you can be that much more grounded, so that you can be anchored, so that you can go out there and achieve and get the results that you want out of life. When you work out, you get more confidence. When you work out, your mind becomes more clear. When you work out, you're able to go out there and do things that you never thought you'd be able to do. So be reminded about that today.
Yeah. I have a visual of being the strongest woman ever. And not just for aesthetic reasons, but for me, being strong means helping the other person who is struggling, to carry them as far
That's
as
right.
I can, and to let them know that they are not alone in any of these journeys. Like I don't want to leave anyone behind, because
Oh
we've
no.
we've been left behind for so long that it's time for me to get as strong as I can to help out everybody else, to bring
You
them
wrote
up.
a book. You wrote a book, correct?
I did. It's coming out in March 13, 2021. It's called Standing in Strength. It
Okay.
is stories of women. It's stories of women unleashing their inner power, and
Okay. So
they've
your
learned
book is
that
called your book is
standing
called
in strength.
Standing in Strength.
Yes.
And where will people be able to find it in March?
There is going to be a pre-order coming out here in I want to say March 1st, March 2nd, and there's going to be a link. I don't have it just yet. This is actually
Okay.
my first book that I have written. It's something that I've been wanting to do for years, and I finally got the courage to do it. And the link, I'll be posting it on my Instagram, which is Laarni Mulvey, and on my Facebook page, things like that. So it's coming up.
Okay. Where can people find you on social media?
So mainly I'm pretty active on Instagram, which is just at Laarni Mulvey. It's Laarni Mulvey. Just in
Right.
case people don't get it. But yeah, I'm Laarni Mulvey on Instagram. You can see I do a daily post, which is like a daily strength seal, which is just like everyone has, like it's like a motivational little blurb to drop in your head in the morning so you can think about it. And then you can see some of my trainings. I post all my trainings, whether it's if it's a failure or if it's a success, I post them because we learn from our failures too. So I'm active on there. And laarnimulvey.com, that's my landing page. You can catch the book link there. You can catch any information about me on there as well.
Okay. What's next for you, Laarni?
What's next? Oh gosh. Well, since this book is coming out already in March, I already have a thought of doing a Standing in Strength book. This book was a lot of women, and I want to do a male version of Standing in Strength as well, because we can't. I can't just think that men don't have the same like confidence issues or self body issues, and we all have, men and women grow up, we learn different things, and I think there's a value in learning the other side of the coin as well.
That's
So
right. That's so true.
yeah. So I have a podcast I'm coming, that's in the works. So that's one as well. And yeah, so many different things. I do like a side thing with a friend of mine. We it's called Let's Talk Java. We have like a coffee show that we talk about. So
Mhm.
it's an all around Laarni thing.
Do you think that more women need to work out?
Yes. I and it's not just for like when you think working out, I just want them to be active.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of us, a lot of women who we lose ourselves in our relationships, in our experiences, and we forget to take care of ourselves. And I think self care includes exercise, and that's what we need to make sure that we're doing. You know, it keeps us strong, it keeps us letting us pick up our children, pick up our pets, pick up our groceries. You know, like it keeps us strong enough, but also like the endorphins keeps you having more of like a happy, positive vibe for yourself and a happy energy. So yes, I totally agree.
For
Work out.
for the women out there who are thinking, listen, I'm working 50 hours a week. I'm sitting at my desk. I don't have time to work out. For the mothers who have children who are thinking, I'm lifting bottle and baby carriage all the time. I don't have time to work out. And just for the people who are just doing nothing but totally wish that they were doing something. How can all these different types of women get more actively involved? What are some things they can do to moderately ease into a workout?
So there's a lot of options out there, especially these times where there a lot of things are virtual. I have
Okay.
I have friends who offer virtual courses that you can do at your home, and you don't have to go to the gym. You can have exercises with minimal equipment. You can do exercises with just your body weight. There are so many options out there. So those, if you're too busy, schedule out 15 minutes. Like I used to tell my friends or my family who never have like worked out before, I call it the 10 by 10 by 10. So 10 push-ups, 10 jumping jacks, 10 mountain climbers. Do it 3 times. It'll get your heart going, and it'll be like a good starting point, and it doesn't take up so much of your time. So I
Okay.
feel like you have to be creative and
Mhm.
make sure to prioritize yourself and to prioritize movement every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right here on America's Next Motivator. Let's start the 10 by 10 by 10 challenge. Can you repeat what are they? What are the three exercises again?
10 jumping jacks, 10 push-ups, and just 10 mountain climbers, and you do it 3 times. It's simple.
Okay.
It's, you when we're all sitting on the computer for so long, get up. Just you could do it if you can, but like if you can do it,
Mhm.
do it. Take a walk around the office. Just as long as there's some kind of movement and blood flow, you're valuing yourself by moving.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, the 10 by 10 by 10 challenge. 10 jumping jacks, 10 push-ups, and 10 mountain climbers. Start there. See
Yes.
if you can do it. See if you can do it. Come back here on America's Next Motivator. Doesn't matter what episode, and just drop it in the comments. Hey, I'm doing the 10 by 10 by 10 challenge now. Shout out to Laarni Eliza. She's got me out here doing a 10 by 10 by 10 challenge. Let us know that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay? Oh yeah, one last question.
Sure.
This is not the last question, but this is one of the final questions. Do we change our lives to make sure that we can work out? Like, if I'm working and I'm taking care of my family and I'm never getting around to physical activity, do I change my life around? Do I make room for a workout?
I believe that you make room for what you want in your life. And I can't make you work out. I can't make anybody do what they don't want to do. But if it's important to you to get in a few minutes to get your heart rate up, to do a few really light banded curls or anything like that, you should make room. Yes, you should make room.
Okay.
Whether, like for me, I train for like 3 hours. So that's my
Wow.
room. That is my span of time. That is my mental therapy. It's my physical therapy as well. And it's like I make time for that because it's important to me, and I have a goal of competing again soon.
That's
So,
right.
but if it's not as important, if it's not a priority, you're not going to make that room. So you
Make it
again,
a priority.
it's your choice. You want to do it or you don't.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to encourage you to make room for a brief workout, the 10 by 10 by 10 challenge. We are down to the final 25 seconds of the show, and I got 3 questions for you. This is the hot seat. The first, what is survival to you? We got 20 seconds. What's survival to you?
Survival to me is finding opportunity in nothing. You have to
What
find
is,
opportunity in nothing.
oh, I like that. What is success to you?
Success to me is knowing yourself enough to understand failures and to learn from them, and also acknowledge your successes.
What is greatness to you?
Oh, this is a great one. I showed you what this one was. So greatness to me is to outperform and outgrow the standard that was set upon you.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, get your crown emojis ready. I want to let you know that I've listened to your story today. I love how you transformed, you grew, you compromised, and you expanded your whole entire world. And you're giving back. We're giving you a crown today. We're giving you a crown today while you can still receive it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat. We're also giving you your respect today while you can still receive it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat. We are letting you know, letting the world know that you, Laarni Mulvey, you are America's next motivator.
Woo!
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by today, all right?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. We got one more crown coming in for you. Chastity Curry. All right. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do, just like you did today, is stop by and pick it up.